What's going on, guys? My name is Daniel Ortiz. Welcome back to another video today. Man, ever since the Canon EOS R5 and 6 have came out, I've seen Peter McKinnon, Maddie Hapoya, Jared Polin, Manny Ortiz. Everyone's been reviewing this camera, and it sucks because it's so much money that I can't even afford it myself. And you know what? I'm fine with it. I am not in any rush. So the basis of this video is the Canon R5 really necessary right now? So checking out the specs of this camera. This thing is a full frame camera. It's a full frame. It goes up to 45 megapixels. That is a lot. I think it's honestly a whole lot more than my Canon R. It does go up to full frame. This thing shoots at full frame, so keep in mind, you get everything. You get to see the whole thing. You get a way better dynamic range out of it. You get to really get into your editing if you need to. Now, not to mention, this thing also has 8K at 30 frames per second, raw. You can edit your videos in RAW with 8K. I don't even know if YouTube can even do that yet. Can it even handle 8K yet? I have no clue. Not to mention, on top of it, you get 4K. 4K and 120. You know how super slow you can get with those shots? Oh, I'm really considering trading in my camera now for it. So the next thing on top of it, it is also a 8-stop in-body image stabilizer. Now for those of you guys who don't know what it is, image stabilizing is basically it keeps your camera from looking very shaky, and you get those nice, smooth, creamy shots. So 8 stops is actually really good. I'm not very techie with info like this. I'm literally just reading off to you what I'm seeing and what I've been hearing about it. On top of that, it looks like they actually enhanced their EVF, which is great. It now has 5,760,000 dots. That is crazy. That means you literally get the freedom to touch any part of your screen and you get it focused. That is just, oh my God. Not to mention, on top of this thing also still has dual pixel CMOS autofocusing too. That means this thing has to be super fast when it focuses on you. That's so crazy. For the amount of this camera, I'm sure they would have to go all out. Not to mention, this thing can also shoot up to 20 frames per second if you shoot it electronic shutter. It shoots insanely fast, and I don't even think my EOS R shoots that fast. I don't need to take constant photos a lot, you know? At least like 2 or 3 photos is good with me, but getting 20 shots in like a second or 2, that is amazing. I don't think I'm gonna be honestly buying this camera anytime soon. It's not something I necessarily need at this moment in my life, because 1080 is still kicking ass. You can still get clean images off of it. Not to mention, my EOS R, it still does 4K. Yes, it's cropped, but I can still get that nice clean imaging. I still get that nice autofocusing when I'm shooting in 4K. So I don't care if it's cropped, it still gives me the best results right now. So the other things that I actually learned about R5 and the R6 both have the amazing autofocusing that it now has animal eye tracking. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen, because I've always wanted to try improving my pet photography, my animal photography basically. And not to mention, because I work at an animal shelter, this would be a big bonus for me. Like, I would lose my freaking head if I was able to get like the nice crispy shots. But really, in my opinion, I feel like having that extra autofocusing, it's just gonna, it feels like a cheat, you know? I mean, it's great enough that we have the little box, that the face and the eye detection for us to help. But with animals, I feel like it's a lot more challenging, and you can really work on your camera better and learning how to compose and quick shots, which in my opinion, I'm cool with, but the eye focusing for animals is still fire. Now, the 8K is honestly a really big thing. If you're if you're somebody who ever end up needing 8K, you would have to honestly be like a director or a big filmmaker or something. Because really, what are you gonna use 8K for? Yeah, it's gonna give you the cleanest images, but with YouTube now these days and a lot of these social media platforms, they don't really work well with 8K. The only time you ever really need 8K is say if you're going to like a theater and you're gonna play your movies out there. In my honest opinion, a camera like the EOS R5 and the 6 wouldn't be recommended for like a beginner. I wouldn't recommend that camera to anyone who's just starting. Now, if you have the money for it, I'd say go right ahead if you want. Me, in my opinion, you can just pay for the R, still get somewhat of close of the same specs. You still get really good imaging. You save a lot more money that way too. So moving on over here, looks like the ISO, they both start off the base at 100. The R5 actually goes up to 51,200, and the R6, it's actually going up to 102,400. So I believe because I would assume because it's got the smaller sensor, it's able to shoot a lot higher for the ISO. Now, in my opinion, I don't really need a high ISO like that, depending on where you are. I mean, the Canon ISO is great, but it's not Sony great, in my opinion. I've never handled the Sony, but after seeing so many photographers and filmmakers out there with Sony cameras, I can tell you it's not gonna be that great. So I'd say be very wise on where you're wanting to use that amount of ISO, because remember, you gotta keep in mind, you use too much ISO, it's just gonna shoot up your grain. The graininess is just gonna be all over the place, and you're not gonna want that. It looks like that they both actually shoot on C-Log, which is really great. C-Log is actually a flat picture profile, so nothing's in color, nothing is stronger than the other. You're able to freely edit the colors as you will, making it cleaner, look more cinematic if you need to. All right, so just looking out, if you were to buy the Canon EOS R5, it's gonna be roughly about $4,000, and that's just the body. That's just the body, so keep that in mind. $4,000 on top of probably another $1,000 lens that you need to get. I'm all good on that. Now, if $4,000 is a lot of money for you to want to get that, you can even look into the R6. The R6 is only $2,500. That's actually not bad. That's half the price of what the R6 costs. And as far as I know, the R6 still has the same amount of specs, just in a lower, smaller sensor. So the whole point of this video is to see if, with this new cameras, the R5 and the R6 that came out, is it honestly necessary in 2020? In my opinion, it really depends on you. It depends on, are you a beginner? Are you experienced? Are you a master at working filming or photography? For me, I'm still considered as an intermediate, so I'm still learning. I don't need 8K anytime soon. 4K, maybe, but 8K, not yet. And when it comes to photography wise, you know, my Canon R is still a beast, and I absolutely love it. But that's the end of this video. I hope you liked it. Please hit that like button if you can. I want you to also subscribe, because what I do it all because I love it. I love filming, I love doing photography. I want this to be a business for me. Follow me on Instagram, the Daniel Ortiz. Again, I'll say it again. That is the Daniel Ortiz. And I also have a photography filmmaking company brand, SPLITIMAGE. That's it, you can call it SPLITIMAGE. Follow me on there, check out my work, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Oh, I forgot to mention, my dad gave me this slick haircut. Your boy's looking clean.